Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It is Jen Zoe Hall here, and I sound like a sports reporter, but that's okay. 1 o'clock hour on the 1 o'clock hour most Fridays. I go live with a little free coaching, and this is a lot of times just me coaching me, and that's what today's about. It's like because I'm right in the middle of like this huge pivot, massive change in my business, how I'm going to serve, how I'm going to be showing up for people. And I mean, obviously I'm very excited about it, but I'm also um, having a lot of like kind of, well, what's the next step? Well, what's the next step? Because this is new for me to do it this way. And anytime you turn, you have to slow down. You can't go into the turn as hard as you could go on the straightaway. So those of us in the horse world know if you have a runaway horse, the best thing you can do is turn them, like get them to slow down a little bit by putting them on a turn or a pivot, right? And a lot of us, heard that word. It started getting more popular during after COVID because everybody had to pivot, unless you were, in booze or toilet paper, or Uber Eats. So, you had to think about like what were the things that you had to do to take the next step, and is it your intuition or is it you just being a little bitch? Are you just showing up and just not you're not doing the things you know you need to be doing, or is this actually the universe going, no, you should go over here? And how do you know the difference, right? If you haven't seen the Alex Hormozi Tony Robbins interview, I'm sure it's gotten millions of views by now, but it's really great, and it's almost cute. I'm like, oh, Alex, you're so cute, because he's almost like when he showed up to Tony at the beginning. He's kind of wearing his dad's suit sort of thing. He's like kind of fumbling some numbers around until he kind of hits his stride. But and then it turned into like this really great like two legends in a room. Like one is seasoned and has been around for a long time, and one is like a legend in his own right at in his mid 30s. Like, Alex, my hat's off to you, friend. Some of the things that you've done that are just so subversive in their approach to marketing and so creative and outside the box. It's like when you have those ideas and you feel like you're the pioneer in the Castaneroga wagon going down into it's like, how do you know when to stop, when to turn, when to slow down, when to when to lean in and when to lean out? And I love the phrase, and I don't even remember where I heard it the first time. It's like, when in doubt, lean out. It's kind of like if you're doing a puzzle, you have a piece and you're like looking at the piece and you're looking at the puzzle. Sometimes it's good to just take a step and like look at the picture and then look at the puzzle, right? And then go back to it. And that's where you have these little breaks. I'm reading a really great book. Oh, I have it right here. I'm reading When by Daniel Pink right now, and it's The Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing. And I think that's really, it's been an incredible book for me, from the standpoint of when should I keep going and when should I take breaks and when should I lean out? Because those of you that know me, I have no bottom of energy. I can go and go and go and go. But at the same time, sometimes you got to stop and sharpen your saw. And it talks about, and it's really great. Daniel Pink's amazing. He's written, I think, six bestsellers, and this is one of them, New York Times bestseller. And it talks about like your circadian rhythms and how to align. So if you're taking, and even my horsemanship mentor said, slow and right beats fast and wrong, or and put in another way, it's slow is smooth and smooth is fast, right? So it's just like, how do you know when to take the step back? When are you listening to your intuition, and when are you going, this is just me being a little bitch. I got to go eat the frog. I'm kind of blending a lot of metaphors here, but like, let's take that. Like, we got to go eat the frog. Like, for me right now is I need to do a landing page, and like, oh my God, I can do it. But it's sort of like asking me to tie both hands behind my back and paint the Mona Lisa with my mouth. Like, I can do it, but it's like really, really hard for me. And I don't want to like affirm that it's hard for me to do. And I also know that it's not my skill set. My skill set is not, that is not. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that it is their skill set. So here's my call to action. If anybody knows of somebody that could do some integrations on a landing page for me, I just need a few little tweaks and I'm set. but it's like that part is the hard part for me. So that's the frog I need to eat, right? And then my intuition isn't like, what do I need to do or how do I need to do it? The better question is who and how can I find that right person to go and do this? So when you are coming into figuring out what your intuition is, like try and understand like where that is leaning, where that is leading you. And first things first, in order to even have one clue, so I'm going to give you three things around this. So if you're being a little avoider, like crying, I don't want to do my homework, right? We don't want to do the math homework. Then don't, and see what happens over time, right? And finding those patterns. But I'm going to give you three things that's going to help you identify whether or not you're just being, suck it up, buttercup, or, okay, I need to take a step back, look at the puzzle piece and see where it actually fits. And it may not be it's funny. My girlfriend and I were talking about puzzles the other day. It's like, what part of the puzzle, yeah, I'm giving you a little hint, visual hint. What part of the puzzle is, should you do first? You go and for me, because the way I do it is I take everything and start grouping it by color. Or like this looks like the wagon, and this looks like the horse, and this looks like the house, So I start kind of like putting things in piles and chunking them down as they say, chunking it down to where, okay, I'm going to work on this little section of the puzzle. But what's the first thing you got to do? I mean, besides take the puzzle pieces out of the box and flip them all over, and maybe that's the step that we miss, right? So a lot of times what ends up happening when you get to you're avoiding a task is because it's out of sequence. It's out of sequence, and your ambition can be going here, but you got to go here before you can go there. So maybe opening the box and then getting the pieces out and then flipping them over and figuring out what you have to do first. So that's number one, like really kind of getting that 30,000 foot view of, all right, what's the next step? Right? What is the next step that feels right for me? And that's when you take a step back and you look at the puzzle piece and you look at the picture and you go, okay, well, we do the edge pieces first, right? Like that's like the general rule is, you find the edge pieces because there's one part of that answer that's already provided for you when you're doing a puzzle. When you're doing a puzzle, you have the edge pieces, like you can tell, unless it's like really skinny, right? You got that. And so that'll help you find, and once you get the edges, then you work in from there and you start putting little, like, okay, here's the horse, here's the wagon, here's the house. And you start looking at the picture and you start piecing things together. What generally ends up happening, especially for people like me, if you're an entrepreneur, if you got a great idea, then what ends up happening is that you don't put the right pieces, you're out of sequence. You try and do something too big, too fast, too far down the road. That's me anyway. That's me. And then I'm like, and then I get overwhelmed, and then there's too many pieces then there's like this puzzle gets mixed in with that puzzle, and like, oh my gosh, then I have to go through and separate all those things out, right? So figuring out like what the next step is. And then that's number one. Like, what is the actual next step? And then taking that step back and looking at the overall picture and where it. So figuring that out and then asking yourself, this is number two, is it a who question or is it a how question? Right? Because we already know what we're doing, right? We want to lose 10 pounds. Like I want to lose 10 pounds. Is it a how question? Probably not. Probably not. It's probably more of the next step is either you've put too much resistance in front of it for yourself, or you're focusing on the wrong thing. What you can't control is something that's too far down the road. If you said, I want to lose 100 pounds, how many pounds do you have to lose first? The first 10, right? You can't lose the seventh 10. You can't lose before you lose the first 10. It is physically impossible to lose the 70th pound before you lose the first pound. So I don't care what your goal is. I don't really care. I mean, I don't care what it is from that perspective. Like, what's the next step? And then you got to take it out and go, okay, is it a who question? Is it a how question? Right? And sometimes it could be a what question. Like what it is could be too big, for you to focus on that right then. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Well, what's the next bite? Should you eat the trunk first, or should you eat the tail first, or should you eat part of the leg first? right? I mean, I know that's a gross example, but it makes the point. And you cannot have, for those of you that are, my alcoholic friends out there, it's like you can't have the 10th drink before you have the first one. So what is the next step? So, and I'm looking at my problem that I'm dealing with right now, my opportunity for growth, and it's saying the next step is this, right? And then number three, this is where I encourage you and invite you to come and check out some of the things I'm doing, because, man, being in the present moment and being exactly where your feet are and coming from a space of gratitude and alignment, then the next step is to align. So you know that the next natural step is the right step and is an action step and not a distraction step, right? Because sometimes you do need to take a break, and the Apple Watch tells you to stand up for 1 minute for every hour, right? Like, and Daniel Pink, like, I'm reading this book, he's like, take those breaks and check in. What gets managed, what gets measured gets managed. And if you're thinking about managing your intuition, that's the way you do it. You take a step back and you go, and it may be that you go outside for a walk. I'm telling you guys, walking is so underrated. It is so underrated. It's power. I'll go out and I'll get a horse and I'll go for a walk. It'll only be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something. It checks a lot of boxes for me. I get outside, I get to move my body, I get to connect with a horse. I get to connection with the horse. The horse gets exercise and interaction, right? So and every Monday in my group, I do a meditation that aligns our actions for the week. So that's that weekly. And then chunk it back down to, like, what's the next piece of the puzzle that you need to do? And then when you go into, here we go. This is where it is. This is where the rubber meets the pavement right here, guys. When you go in, call it what you want, meditation, prayer, silence, just being still, and you go, what's the next step? And then you can say these three things. What's the next step? What's the conversation? What's the conversation? These three things within this. What's the next step? What's the conversation? Am I being a little whiny baby and I need to put on my big girl pants and I need to just eat that frog, or something else? Because I think there's a balance between Deepak Chopra and David Goggins. I really do. I feel like there is a blend of those two entities that will bring you to center. And when you think about, like, we hear of all this garbage about work-life balance, and it's garbage. It's exactly what it is. Work-life balance is garbage. But taking a step back to realign, right? To say, okay, what is the next step? I'm going, all right, to where I want to go. My big BHAG. Is this the next step? And then you can even muscle test it. If you guys have ever done muscle testing, you go, is this next step? Yes or no? And your body will tell you. And because, and even, Tony Robbins says this all the time. All you need is within you. And when you look within instead of without, and don't give a flying who cares about what anybody else thinks. I don't want you to care about what anybody else thinks. Then just ask. And I'd say, what's the next step? Like this morning, it was like, I instead of doing whatever was on my list, I was like, I really feel like I should just go out and get Dante's dinner ready. Like, what was it? But I felt like pulled to go do that. And when I did, something magical happened. It was a small little, like, just a little minor spell, but it was a little piece of magic. And I was like, how perfect was that? Right. And the more you do that, the deeper the clarity, the more visibility for you scuba divers out there who, we want good viz, right? You want to, what's the viz? What in scuba talk, that's what's the visibility. And, who doesn't want 100 feet of visibility? Who doesn't want, 30 meters of great visibility under the big blue when you're diving, right? So when the more aligned you are and, like, where does this next piece go? And the more you can just take a step back and then get back in, the less breaks you will need, because you'll be able to pull back and say, all right, I'm aligned. I'm going to come back in and do this. And then the next step will be clear. And it'll start to actually give you a longer distance clarity, better visibility, further out. Your high beams start to come on, right? So you can see further down the road and you go, oh, and your alignment it goes from being like super narrow to actually being like a river. And you can see further down, you know where the waterfall is, you know where the rapids are coming, and you can set yourself up to be even more aligned and more prepared and more being ready to be ready to be ready to receive. So those three things, you guys, that's the big things. Like really get into that alignment and ask yourself, when you are aligned, you know there is no distractions. And when you have no distractions, yeah, it sucks. You got to go do your taxes or whatever it is that you don't enjoy doing, right? For me, it's doing the landing pages. I don't enjoy it, but I can be where my feet are and I can be totally present and say, well, this is one of those hard pieces on the puzzle to find. It's the same color as all the ones around it and it's funny shape, but I'm not sure where this piece of puzzle goes. So I have to take the time to figure it out. And I know it's in alignment because I've done those three things. I've put things in sequence. I've gotten that clearer vision. And I know how to take where the sequence of things and where the next piece goes. So I can just go, okay, well, this is just one of those tough levels in Candy Crush, right? And sometimes sometimes you can, money loves speed, as they say. So sometimes you can hire somebody to do that. But if you don't have the money, you got to figure it out or figure out a way to do a trade. But, you can't go over it, can't go around it, got to go through it. And when you're in alignment, the through it is so much smoother. It's so much smoother and easier. And at the other end of it, you're like, that wasn't as hard as I've made it out to be, which it generally isn't, because I'm going to go and do this and it's going to take the time it takes. And I'll probably watch Harry Potter or something while I'm doing it, So set yourself up to make it as enjoyable as you possibly can. Wear comfortable clothes, listen to good music, or be in silence if that speaks to you. But eat that frog, ladies and gentlemen, because avoidance is to actually takes you out of your intuition, out of the alignment and your intuition. And that's when you're going to start going, man, I don't want to eat that frog ever again, because then you're going to hit some pain. But if you eat the frog when it's just a little tadpole, it's like, and it's gone. But if you wait till that thing is a freaking cane toad and you got to get out your knife and fork, it's going to be ugly. It's not going to taste as good. It's going to take you that much longer. So go eat those frogs while they're little tadpoles, and make it as playful and be as present as you possibly can. And stay aligned to what you decide you want to do. I ate outside my diet last night, and I'm like, well, it's kind of like, I left my cell phone at the gas station. You got to turn around and go back and get it. That's same. It's going to happen. You're going to forget stuff. You're going to, eat pizza when you're supposed to eat a salad. You're going to do those things enough as it is. So put yourself in a space where you can understand where your alignment should be and stay in your lane from that perspective. And that's really it for today, guys. Like really lean into staying present, getting your vision clear, and asking, is this alignment or is this avoidance? And staying really, really clear and aware of that. And you'll be able to, those frogs will be, yeah, they suck. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but they're temporary. And they're things that you will be able to move past. You don't have to, once you put that puzzle piece in the puzzle, you don't have to do it and get that same puzzle piece again. Like learn that puzzle piece is in, move on, right? I hope that's helpful. I'm actually going to move on and get out with the horses. This weekend, I have my meet and greet. And next week, we are going to be doing some really great lives throughout the week. And I encourage you to reach out to me if you're interested in getting involved in my upcoming retreats. I've launched retreats again for 2026. And I hope to see anyone that's interested in having a life-changing experience with horses to come out and visit me then. Remember to believe in yourself. It will change your life. And if you are new to me, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great rest of your day. And we'll